Good morning, little one. Did you sleep well? Good. Now, I know it's early and you might still feel a bit drowsy, but we have a lot to do today. You'll be taking your first steps in your education program that I have created for you for the upcoming years. I know you will, little one. I know you will. Before any of that, however, let us get you clothes so that we can go to get breakfast. Here, this will suit you nicely. Oh my, aren't you just the cutest little thing? Well, I was right about one thing. While the full transformation might take years, small transformations are already visible, like your earlobes here. There are scales forming on them. You think so, little one? I'm glad you like the changes so much. I was worried you might change your mind once you see how much it affects you, but it seems I was worried for nothing. Now, let's go to the dining room. While we wait, I'd like to talk about what you'll be learning today. We'll begin with basic knowledge of the world. Today will be about magic and the creatures that inhabit these lands. I'm glad you find it interesting. My firstborn did not enjoy learning this when he was your age. Oh, right. I forgot to mention who they are. Bane is your older half-brother and the current king and leader of the Darkstone Valley and clan, respectively. That's right, little one. While we dragons are immortal, it can become tedious for us to hold a position, no matter what that position might be, for too long. I was king for about 5,000 years before abdicating the throne and handing over to my son. Oh, that is very good of you, child. Wanting to meet your brother already? I suppose I could call him, but that would have to be for another day. Today you'll be learning, and I don't want anything or anyone distracting you. Is that understood? Good. Now, dig in. Oh, that is oranges. That is orange juice, little one. It is quite delicious and made from a fruit also called orange. Of course. Here. It seems you like it. Oh, and for future reference, do not talk with your mouth full like I did. I did it because I do not have to follow etiquette anymore, but in encounters with nobility and royalty of any species, such a thing is extremely frowned upon. Very good. Now, let us go to the library for your first lesson. We are here. Take a seat, little one. Now, let us begin our first lesson. In the ancient days, before the creation of our world, really was a fickle mess at best. Cracks in reality and enormous abominations scourging for food. Amongst these creatures, one by the name of Tarsar began using their power for creation instead of destruction and corruption. Can you guess what it created first? It created the planets and the stars, creating the first living organisms within the universe. That is where you are wrong, little one. Planets, much like stars, are living beings. They were the first, but not the last. After creating the stars and planets, Darsar felt like the planets needed to be inhabited by creatures that could prosper in the planet's environments. So, the first creature it created were the dragons. Indeed, little one, that is us. The first of the dragons was Belor Allfather, the mightiest among us. He was the only dragon in history that did not have a human form, nor could shapeshift into another form. He was as tall as a mountain range, and as fast and true as lightning. Ah, good question. You see, little one, Darsar noticed how lonely Belor felt, and so it created another dragon, Phineas, mother of all dragons. Belor was happy again, and together with Phineas populated this land with the first dragons to have been born and not made. Later on, they would form the 6 great clans of Dragonkin: Redclaw, Greenbreath, Yellowscale, Bluefang, Lightwing, and Darkstorm. Yes, little one, that is indeed us. I love how proud you are of your heritage, but let us continue with the lesson. Even with the dragons, Darsar felt like the planet he had invested so much time on felt empty, and so he created the first Idlians. I am not surprised you do not know. Most humans don't. But now that you are a dragon, I will teach you. Idlians are tall humanoids that have the ability to harness power from the stars, whether they be close or far from this planet. They are a race comprised entirely of mages, though I have heard rumors of a few of them having opted for the warrior path. They are quite hard to read, since they do not easily display emotions, but when they do, you will find that they are very wise and not so cold personally wise as you might think. While they can copulate like other races, they do not reproduce that way. They reproduce via melding bits of themselves onto the flesh of a host, whether those be hair or skin or something else. The host can be of any race, except for dragons and vampires for some reason. It has never been understood why we 2 races do not work, but we do not, so they don't try. It is but luckily for most of the creatures inhabiting this planet. They are pure consensualists and would never subject an unwilling subject to such procedure, whether they be against it or ignorant of what it entitled. Indeed. Though no one knows why they are so strung up on that, some scholars speculate that it was the work of Darsar, who did not wish to create a parasitic race, so it imposed mental barricades in order for them to not act as such. After them comes humans. I do not know what stories you may have heard while living in the village, but what I know about humans is the supposed story that speaks of them coming into being. Supposedly, after the dragons and Idlians, humans were created. Darsar took inspiration from his previous creation, but made them smaller and less bulkier. The only difference being that they had no mental limitations. Anything they wished to do, say, or create was possible for them. This, in the eyes of both dragons and aliens, made them dangerous, and they were right, for now dragons are considered monsters by the ruling species of the world, also known as humans, and aliens have come perilously close to extinction due to humanity's fear of the unknown, or in this case, knowing that aliens would easily crush them if they wished to do so. After humans come races whose stories are not documented, or those stories have never been heard due to how they are against receiving anyone else outside of their kin into the cities. Lesser-known races are the Pinkkin, the Shipkin, the Wolfkin, the Frogkin, the Spiritkin, the Demonkin, Elvenkin, Dwarvenkin, and the Rabbitkin. There is an entirely different culture of humans in the eastern continent of Peru, but that is technically a different culture and not a different species. Still, I thought I should count them in case you were curious. Ah, yes, vampires and werewolves. They are not creations of Darzar, but of another being like it, one intent on destroying and corrupting. The funny thing, though, is that both of these species turned against their creator and destroyed it, and ever since then were classified as sentient species instead of monsters. Indeed, they were, little one. Though I was not alive during such times, I remember my grandparents telling me stories of how Belor and Phineas had to untie to fight against Vampire King Velknor. Well, Velknor was just that powerful. Unlike his descendants, he was not born, but made out of pure darkness, imbued with all the powers of Darzar rival entity. Velknor was probably on par with his creator. He did lose the battle, however, and this sent his creator into a spiral of abusive behavior towards him, and later on, his other creation, Ragnus. Ragnus, yes, he was the werewolf king. After Velknor's failure, his creator created another being, tall and with claws as big and sharp as great swords, as well as rows of huge fangs, each of them filled with sufficient venom to kill over 1,000 men. The same thing happened with Ragnus. He got sent to war against the Dragon King and Queen, only to lose. The dark entity began punishing Velknor and Ragnus for their failure for millennia, until finally he had a bright idea of sending both Velknor and Ragnus together against Belor and Phineas. What happened next, however, was considered impossible then. They rebelled against their creator and slew him. Probably tired of being abused like slaves, Velknor and Ragnus took their kin to war in the Dark World, where they fought against their creator and the monstrosities he had created after them. Beings of pure darkness and fleshy tentacles, not even sentient and only obeying the dark entity. The vampire scholars who wrote down the events said that it was a battle unlike any other, where they fought for centuries until finally Velknor and Ragnus emerged victorious. They then destroyed the Dark World and its inhabitants returned to our world. They are now venturing out somewhere, having since then passed on the title of king of the respective species onto others and living their lives in peace. That was my reaction as well the first time I heard the story. Well, That's it for creatures of the world. Now for Magica. After having created enough species for its most beloved planet, Darzar felt lonely for the first time since creation. It decided that it too would have offsprings of its own, not on the planet, but close to it. Well, it is said that Darzar molded elements out of nothing and gave them shapes, sentience, and intellect, and even their own personalities. Later on, these beings, which we would later call the gods, created magic and shaped the world in Darzar's absence. They also created a pocket dimension for the one they call the true god, which is Darzar, to live in its retirement. I know, sounds silly, right? How can a god retire? Well, remember how I said that being in any position can be boring after too long? I think the same applies to our Creator. It created us, so these emotions we have must be part of it too. At least, that is my take on things. Now that the story part of the things is out of the way, let me teach you basic Magica control. Extend your hand. Magica originates from the brain. It is an energy source that shapes the world around you, bending it itself to your will. In order for you to learn how to do this, you must learn how to properly control the energy within. Now, imagine water flowing down a river. Now, imagine that water is your energy, and the river is the path you are directing the energy towards. Imagine your energy flowing from your head to your hand, and then being expelled from your palm. Well done! That was basic magic control and discharge of Magica. You'll repeat this process in varying degrees depending on the spell, but for now, let me teach you a basic spell. Ember. Do the same as before, but instead of discharging the energy out, imagine you're holding it in your hand, and imagine it to be in the shape of a small fire. Well done, little one, well done. You're natural at this. Now, you'll be repeating this process for 2 hours. After that, we'll proceed to the courtyard. Very well done. Now, onto the courtyard. Now, martial arts require you to have a decent amount of stamina in order to keep up with instructions, so we'll be building your body from the small frame you have now to a more well-built version of yourself, little one. That might be, but you forget that you are a dragonkin now. A 10-year-old dragonkin has stamina comparable to a human adult, and while you may not have fully transitioned into dragonkin yet, you have far more stamina than an average 10-year-old human, so you will be more than fine, my child. I know it is hard and it is intimidating, but I want you to be the best of the best once you leave this place and start a life of your own. I want you to be prepared. Very good, my child. Let's get started then. Good job, little one. We'll rest for a while and then head to the dining room for lunch. Afterwards, we'll begin your crafting training. Today, we'll be blacksmithing, jewelry, runecraft, and alchemy. Tomorrow, we will have a similar schedule with different subject matters, only taking breaks during the weekend. Is that understood? Did you just call me what I think you call me? Not at all. I just did not expect you to call me father so soon. I am very happy that you feel at ease enough for you to call me so, even if it has been only one day since we met. Very happy indeed. Now, let us go eat lunch. Lunch was good, wasn't it? Here we are. Now, what would you like to begin learning? Jewelry? All right, child, let us begin. These are beautiful, little one. I knew you had talent, but this came out beautifully for your first try. For me? Oh, thank you, little one. I will treasure this ring and necklace you made me forever. Now, let us continue with the other crafts. Oh my, we've spent far too much time here. I'm afraid we'll have to leave enchanting and alchemy for another day. Oh, don't be sad, little one. You have all the time in the world to learn what I can teach you, so you do not worry. Now, let us go to the dining room. Dinner awaits. Are you comfortable, my child? Good, good. I was thinking about what you asked me earlier today about meeting your brother, and I think I can arrange that. No need to act so surprised. I have some pull as the former ruler of an entire nation, not to mention the current ruler is my son, and no matter where in life he might be, he will always be my child. Like you, he will answer. At the earliest, tomorrow afternoon. At the latest, in a few months. As your father and as Morgan Darkstorm, I give you my word that he will come either way. Oh my! I did not even tell you my name. How shameful, my child. Please forgive me. Yes, my name is Morgan. Morgan Darkstorm. Thank you, my child. Listen, I know we didn't get to do everything we set out to do today, but that just means more for tomorrow. And if your brother shows up tomorrow, he might even help you with one of your lessons. Deep down, I suspect he always wanted a younger sibling. But since me being king made that impossible, he must have been sad not having a younger family member to play with and mentor. I'm happy to hear that, but it is time to go to sleep now, okay? Now, sweet dreams, my child.